I sat at the kitchen table, staring at my cold coffee while Amanda scrolled through her phone like I wasn't even in the room. She hadn't looked at me once all morning. I said, "Good morning," earlier, and all I got back was a distracted, mm-hmm. That was it. My name's Mike. I'm 42. I live just outside of Columbus, Ohio. Been married to Amanda for 12 years. And lately, it's felt like I'm living with a stranger. This used to be a home. Now it's just a place where two people sleep under the same roof and avoid eye contact. She stopped asking how my day was, stopped laughing at my stupid jokes. We used to talk about everything, random late-night conversations, pillow talk, weekend plans. Now, silence. She'll go days without touching me, without even brushing past me in the hallway. Quick note, before we get too deep, tell us which country you're watching from. I'm real curious how far this kind of story travels. I kept trying to figure out when it all changed. Was it last year? The year before that? I couldn't pin it down. It wasn't one big fight or disaster, just a slow, quiet shift, like the walls started closing in without making a sound. Last night, I brought it up again. We were sitting in bed. She was looking at something on her iPad, legs tucked under the blanket. I just blurted it out. "Are you happy with me anymore? Or are we just coexisting?" She didn't even look up at first, just tapped her screen a few more times. Then she said, "I think we want different things." That hit hard. I leaned forward. What does that even mean? We used to be a team. We built this life together. She finally looked at me, cold eyes, flat voice. "If you want what we had again, it's going to cost you." At first I thought I misheard her. "What?" She didn't repeat it, just looked at me, waiting, like she wanted me to understand without explanation. I couldn't speak. My mouth was dry. I stared at her, trying to find any trace of the woman I married, but she just turned back to her iPad, like she hadn't just dropped a bomb. I got up, left the room, walked downstairs in a daze. No yelling, no door slamming, just quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your skin crawl. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept hearing those words. "If you want what we had again, it's going to cost you." What the hell was that supposed to mean? I stood in the dark living room for a long time that night, trying to make sense of what she said. My mind kept circling around it, but nothing stuck. If you want what we had again, it's going to cost you. It had to be heat of the moment bullshit, right? People say cruel stuff when they're mad. Maybe she was lashing out. The next morning, she was in the kitchen acting like nothing happened. Hair pulled back, AirPods in, tapping around on her phone while the toaster clicked behind her. She didn't even look up when I walked in. "Morning," I muttered. She just hummed, not even a word. That tension from last night, still there, thick as hell, but she floated around it like it didn't exist. Like we were in some pretend world where nothing ever gets addressed. I tried to play it off, pretended it didn't bother me. I had work emails, bills to check, errands, but all day that line echoed in my head. Cost me what? My dignity? My bank account? What the hell was she implying? Later that afternoon, I saw a package on the porch. Another one. That made 4 this week. She waltzed past me on her way out the door and said, "Can you bring that in?" It's a coat I ordered. A coat in August. I pulled the box inside and just stared at it. Amanda had never been shy about spending, but it used to come with at least a little awareness. Now it was daily impulse buys, shoes, skincare, gadgets. I hadn't seen her use the same purse twice in months. She kept talking about some spa trip in Arizona with her friend Rachel, like it was a given. Meanwhile, I'd been rationing out the house repairs because we needed to tighten the budget. It hit me then, how long I'd been covering for her. I fixed the washing machine last month when she left it leaking for days. I did her mom's taxes when she said it stressed her out. I handled all the car stuff, paid off her credit card balance once without even mentioning it. And what did I get? Silence, distance, no thank yous, no affection, not even basic interest. A couple years ago, she had this dream of opening a boutique. I spent weekends building her website, networking, running ads. She lost interest in 6 months. I didn't complain, I just picked up the slack. Now, I couldn't remember the last time she'd done anything thoughtful for me, or even asked how I was holding up. She was somewhere else emotionally, completely disconnected, but still expected me to keep the lights on and the engine running, like I was the maintenance guy in her personal luxury resort. I started thinking about everything I'd overlooked, The red flags I shrugged off. The cold shoulder, the missed anniversaries, the nights she'd claimed she was too tired to talk. Was she tired or just done? That question sat in my chest like a brick. After dinner, she was curled up on the couch, laughing at something on her phone. I stood in the doorway and watched her for a second. She didn't notice, or didn't care. That was when the truth started to settle in. Maybe she wasn't lashing out last night. Maybe she meant every damn word. And maybe, just maybe, this marriage was already over. I turned off the light in the hallway and walked upstairs without a word. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of her nails tapping on her phone. Amanda was already downstairs, curled up in the corner of the couch with her robe on and a blanket tossed over her legs. Steam curled up from her coffee mug, and she was glued to her screen like always, scrolling, smirking, sipping. I stood there in the hallway for a second, watching her thumb move in fast little flicks. She didn't even glance up when I walked in. "Morning," I said. She didn't respond, just sipped her coffee and kept scrolling. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself whatever was left in the pot, sat across from her. She still hadn't looked at me when she finally said, "Hey, I need a few $100 for today. There's a sale at Ridgefield and I saw this bag I want. Can you transfer it?" No eye contact, no smile, just straight up like I was her damn ATM. I stared at her. "Seriously?" She blinked, finally looking up. "Yeah? Why?" "We just talked about cutting back." "You talked about it," she said, turning back to her screen. "Don't make this a thing, Mike. It's not like I'm buying a car." That's when it really started to click. The expensive coats, the resort plans, the new luggage she didn't even take the tags off yet. I'd been putting off a tire replacement on my truck for 2 months, but she had no problem dropping cash on clothes she'd wear once in return. And now, she wanted me to pay her to bring affection back into the marriage? I watched her for a long second, and the more I thought about it, the clearer things got. She hadn't hugged me in weeks, barely kissed me. I couldn't even remember the last time we sat down and talked like husband and wife. Everything felt staged, cold, transactional. It wasn't just distance, it was detachment. Like she was running her own little life with her own goals, and I was just the guy funding it. I transferred the money without saying a word, just to avoid another argument. But I felt sick doing it. That night, she came home with 2 bags. Big designer logos, flashy packaging. I was sitting at the kitchen table going over bills, watching the red stack higher. Mortgage, utilities, her credit card again. She dropped the bags in the hallway like a teenager after a shopping spree, then walked past me like I was invisible. I didn't even bother speaking. What was the point? I sat there staring at the numbers. I made decent money, but it wasn't endless. And the way she spent, like it was a sport, there was no bottom to it, and nothing coming back. No intimacy, no interest, no care, nothing. Just take, take, take. And I kept giving. For what? So she could feel pampered? So she'd let me back into my own marriage? Is that what this was now? A fee-based system where her time and affection had a price tag? I rubbed my eyes and leaned back in the chair, heart pounding. That damn comment from the other night just kept repeating in my head. It's going to cost you. I thought she was just being cruel, but now, maybe she meant it literally. Maybe to her, the relationship was a transaction. She got what she wanted, and I got left on red every damn time. And the worst part, I'd let it happen. I spent years saying yes, covering the bills, doing the work, trying to be the husband who understood, while she slowly stopped showing up for the marriage altogether. Like it was my job to keep her happy and her job to just exist. I wasn't her partner. I was her provider. She walked by me again later that night, fresh out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, smelling like her expensive soap. Didn't even say goodnight, just disappeared into the bedroom and shut the door behind her. I stared at that closed door for a long time, and I finally let myself ask it out loud. What am I even doing here? I was still sitting there at the kitchen table when my phone buzzed. Amanda had gone to bed without a word, and I wasn't in the mood to follow. I figured it was one of those, "Hey, don't forget to pay the lawn guy" messages. But it wasn't. It was a voice memo, 34 seconds long. I stared at it for a second, thumb hovering over the play button. Then I hit it. Her voice came through clear, steady, almost rehearsed. "Hey, I didn't want to say this out loud earlier because I knew you'd take it the wrong way, but I've been thinking, I've been carrying the emotional weight in this marriage for years, and it's exhausting. I show up, I hold space, I make sure things don't fall apart. Emotionally, and honestly, I think it's only fair that we talk about some kind of emotional labor stipend, just to acknowledge the effort I've put in. That was it. No goodbye, no explanation. Just silence after that last line. I sat there, staring at my phone like it had just grown teeth. Emotional labor stipend? I put the phone down and pushed back from the table slowly, like any sudden movement would make me lose my mind. My whole body went still. I couldn't even feel anger at first. It was just pure shock, disbelief. Then it started creeping in. The gall? The absolute nerve of her to frame herself as the one doing the work while I ran the bills kept the roof from caving in, literally and financially, and stood there taking hit after hit in silence. She hadn't lifted a finger toward this marriage in over a year, but now she wanted a stipend? I didn't even know how to respond, so I didn't. I stood up, walked upstairs quietly, and slipped into the guest room. She was already asleep in the master, back turned, lights off, like always. I lay there staring at the ceiling, heart racing, mind spiraling. This wasn't about affection anymore, or communication, or compromise. This was business. I started connecting dots I'd avoided before. The way she'd stopped participating. The way every request from her came with a cost, money, time, energy. Nothing mutual, nothing given freely. Every bit of her attention felt earned, like a transaction I didn't remember agreeing to. I thought about that phrase she'd used, emotional labor. I'd heard it before. Podcasts, Twitter arguments, but never in my marriage, not as a bargaining chip, not like this. She really believed I owed her for staying married to me. She really thought that her cold silence counted as effort, and somehow I was supposed to be grateful. I didn't sleep, just lay there, listening to the house settle. A pipe hissed under the floorboards. The wind moved the fence gate. I used to find those sounds comforting. Now they felt like a warning. By morning, I knew I couldn't ignore this anymore. But I wasn't going to blow up. Not yet. I needed to step back, assess, understand what the hell I was even dealing with. This wasn't just about money. It wasn't even just about sex or distance. It was the whole damn relationship. The way it had turned into a cold, managed system. Her needs first, her time first, her feelings first. Mine, irrelevant. I'd been paying to stay in a marriage I wasn't even part of anymore. And she had the audacity to ask for more. Number. That was the line. I didn't say a word to her that morning. I made coffee. I left early for work. I didn't respond to her follow-up text, asking if I'd had time to think about the stipend thing. But I had. And I'd never been more sure of anything in my life. I wasn't going to keep funding this performance. Something was going to change. And the next move? It was mine. I didn't give her an answer about the stipend, and I never would. Instead, I started pulling back, quietly. No fights, no speeches, just stopped doing. I used to refill her car's gas tank when she left it low. I stopped, let it hit empty. She came home one night annoyed, tossed her purse on the counter and said, "You could have told me it was out of gas." I shrugged. "You drive it." She stared at me for a second, probably waiting for me to apologize or jump to fix it. I didn't. I stopped reminding her about her dental appointments, stopped picking up her dry cleaning, the flowers I used to bring home randomly. Gone. I didn't schedule another date night. I didn't follow up on her Arizona trip plans. Let her do it all herself. She noticed. I could see it, the way she looked at me, hesitating for a second longer, like something was off. But she never asked, never brought it up. Just kept floating along like the same rules still applied. She still ordered packages, still posted brunch pics, still made weekend plans that didn't include me. But now I wasn't racing behind her trying to keep the wheels on. And for the first time in a long time, I felt calm. No more guessing, no more performing. I wasn't trying to win her over. I wasn't trying to make things right. I was done playing the part. One afternoon, I came home early and found her on the couch, legs curled up under her, phone in hand. She didn't notice me at first. She was smiling, typing, then laughing, soft, flirty, breathy. "Mark, you're terrible," she giggled, and her fingers danced over the screen again. I stood in the doorway, not moving. She glanced up, caught my eye, and flinched just a little. "Hey," she said, trying to sound casual. "Didn't hear you come in." "Yeah, I said, walking past her. Figured. She tucked her phone under the blanket. Just like that. No explanation, no attempt to hide that she'd been doing something she didn't want me to see. And I didn't ask. I didn't need to. The name Mark stuck in my head like a nail. I didn't know who he was, didn't ask, didn't snoop. But I started watching. The late-night texts, the quiet smiles, the quick screen flips when I walked by. She wasn't being careful. Not really, like she assumed I wouldn't care, or wouldn't do anything even if I did, and she wasn't wrong. I didn't blow up, didn't confront her. I just let it sit, let it breathe, because part of me had already moved on. The more I pulled away, the more I saw things clearly. The whole marriage felt like a business deal now, and I wasn't interested in negotiating anymore. I noticed how light I felt when I wasn't chasing her approval, when I didn't answer her texts right away, when I didn't scramble to fix her messes. I started sleeping better, thinking sharper. I wasn't angry, not yet, just done. She made dinner one night, pasta, her usual garlic overload, sat across from me, scrolling between bites. "You don't like it?" she asked. "It's fine." She tilted her head. "You're quiet lately." I looked at her for a beat. "So are you." She didn't reply. We finished the meal in silence, the kind that doesn't feel awkward anymore, just empty. Afterward, she went to the bedroom, phone in hand, giggling at whatever Mark was feeding her. I stayed downstairs and turned on a game I didn't even care about. I wasn't jealous, I was paying attention. A few nights later, I came home early again. Amanda's car was in the driveway, lights were on in the den. I figured I'd just walk in like always, but the second I stepped onto the porch, I heard her voice. Laughing, low, too casual. I paused. Then I heard his voice, male, confident, not on speaker, phone call. I leaned against the front door, quiet. They didn't know I was home yet. "He doesn't have a clue," she was saying. "I swear, Mark, he's just floating through. Like, he doesn't even notice." My stomach tightened. Mark chuckled on the other end, loud enough I could make out his tone. "So, what's the plan, babe? You milking this a little longer?" Amanda snorted. "Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I? I get to do whatever I want. He pays the bills, doesn't ask questions. It's perfect. I just have to keep things calm long enough to set myself up." There was a pause, then more laughter. "Damn," Mark said. "You're cold." "Please," she replied. "He's a grown man. If he wants to be a doormat, that's on him. I'm not going to light a match unless I have to." My chest felt like it had caved in. It wasn't even the cheating. It was the way she said it, like I wasn't a person, like I was a tool, a paycheck, a fool she could manipulate while she plotted an escape plan with someone else. And I'd let her. I backed off the porch slowly, careful not to let the steps creak. I got in my truck and sat there for a long time with the engine off, hands on the wheel, staring at the garage light flickering above me. I wasn't even angry yet. I was humiliated, embarrassed. I'd been walking around like this marriage could still be saved, that if I just hung in there, she might snap out of it, might remember who we were. But there was nothing left to remember, not for her. This wasn't distance. This was strategy. She was using me, calculating, laughing about it behind my back like it was some game. I finally started the engine and drove off. I didn't know where I was going. I just needed space to breathe. I parked down the road at a gas station and sat with the windows down, cold air hitting my face. I lit a cigarette, first one in years, and stared out at the neon sign blinking over the pumps. That was it. I wasn't going to let this drag on another day without taking action. But I also wasn't going to explode. That's what she'd expect. That's what would give her the upper hand. Something she could twist, control, weaponize. Number. If she wanted to play this like a business, I'd handle it like one. That night, I started writing everything down. Notes, timelines, spending patterns. Every major purchase she'd made in the past 6 months. Dates, statements. I checked the shared account, marked suspicious charges. I wanted a record. I deleted our shared calendar and backed up all my financial documents to an external drive. Password protected everything. Then I started looking into asset protection, quietly. No phone calls from home. I used my office computer, private email. I didn't tell a soul, not even my brother, not my best friend. I didn't need advice. I needed leverage. I began keeping my receipts, monitoring her patterns. When she left for yoga, I noted the time. If she came back in different clothes, I logged it. Not because I wanted proof of cheating, I already knew. I wanted to be ready when she tried to flip the script, because she would. People like her don't get caught and apologize. They spin, cry, manipulate. I needed to be 2 steps ahead when it all came crashing down, and it would. She was too confident, too careless. She'd gotten used to me staying quiet, but I wasn't being passive anymore. I was preparing. The next morning, I called a lawyer. His name was Andrew, mid-40s, sharp suit, no small talk, just facts. I told him everything. Not the emotional crap, not the "she doesn't love me anymore" stuff, just the reality. Her spending, the voice memo, what I overheard on the porch, the sudden shift in behavior. He didn't flinch. "She's positioning herself," he said. "You need to start documenting, quietly, and protect your finances. Don't confront her until you're ready to pull the trigger." Exactly what I needed to hear. That same day, I opened a new checking account at a local credit union under just my name. No shared access, no linked cards. I rerouted my paycheck, took a little out at a time from our joint account. Nothing noticeable, just small, steady transfers every few days. I also locked down all my retirement accounts, made sure no changes could happen without my signature. Passwords were changed, 2-factor authentication, clean trail, nothing flashy. Amanda didn't notice a thing. She was too busy. There was a spa weekend coming up in Charleston, apparently. Another $1,400 gone like it was pocket change. She told me about it while eating avocado toast she didn't make, wearing jewelry I hadn't bought. "I need this trip," she said. "Everything's been so heavy lately." Heavy, that was rich. "Go for it," I told her. "Do what you need." She didn't even blink, just smiled like she'd won again. But she hadn't. I was done reacting. Now I watched, closely. The late-night messages, the missed calls, the receipts she didn't bother hiding anymore. She wasn't subtle, but she was still arrogant, too confident I'd never take a swing. She started leaving her laptop open more. I don't know if it was carelessness or some weird power move, but one night, while she was out with Rachel, another girls' night, I took my chance. I sat at the kitchen counter and opened the laptop. No password, just like always. The first tab open was a Google Doc titled Future Plan. It wasn't subtle. I opened it, budget breakdowns, asset calculations, travel dates, notes about eventual legal separation and figuring out timing. She was already strategizing her exit, but waiting clearly to secure herself first. I kept digging. There were messages in her email to Mark, long ones. Complaints, flirty jokes, photos, plans. They were playing house behind my back, laying out how she'd make her exit without losing her safety net. That net was me. She even sent him screenshots of our bank balance, bragged about how clueless I was. And then I found the second account. In her Chase login, there was a separate savings account under her name only, new, hidden. She'd been funneling money into it, probably selling designer crap online, skimming from the joint account using Venmo and transfers labeled like grocery runs or girls' lunch. It was all there, time-stamped, labeled, arrogant. I didn't lose it. I didn't smash anything. I didn't call her screaming or send a single text. I closed the laptop, wiped the fingerprints, put everything back where I found it. Then I made copies, screenshots, PDFs, backups. External drive, cloud storage, password protected. Andrew had told me, "It's not about how angry you are, it's about how ready you are." And now, I was ready. I waited until everything was locked down, financials, documents, backups, legal prep, before I made my move. Tuesday night, she was home, scrolling like usual, curled up on the couch under a throw blanket, like she didn't have a care in the world. I'd printed everything, labeled it, emails, text logs, screenshots, transaction records, the future plan document, metadata, even the photos she sent to Mark. All of it went into a manila folder. I walked into the room and dropped it on the coffee table in front of her. She flinched at the sound, then looked up slowly. "What's that?" "Open it." She raised an eyebrow, still lounging like this was beneath her. "Can't you just tell me?" "Number." "Open it." She sighed like I was annoying her, then flipped it open. It took about 4 pages before her expression changed. She went still, eyes scanning fast, jaw tightening. This is private, she said. Number? That's evidence. She laughed, forced. Seriously? Are you spying on me now? That's pretty pathetic, Mike. I'm done being stupid, I said, sitting across from her, calm, steady. You've been lying to my face, planning your exit, and stringing me along while using my money to build your backup plan. I'm not going to ask why. I already know. She closed the folder and shoved it back across the table. You're overreacting. Number. I'm finally reacting. She stood up, arms crossed, pacing now. So what? I texted a friend. I made a few plans. Big deal. You think this makes you some kind of victim? You've been emotionally unavailable for years. There it was. Gaslight mode activated. You're deflecting, I said. This isn't about how I failed to entertain you. This is about how you used me like a bank account while playing house with someone else behind my back. Oh, please. You think I wanted to get to this point? I've been holding this marriage together emotionally for years, Mike. You shut down long before I did. Maybe I did, but I didn't steal. I didn't lie. And I sure as hell didn't treat you like a business deal. She rolled her eyes and muttered, "Spare me the dramatics." I pulled another document from my jacket and set it down beside the folder. This is a postnup, I said. It outlines the division of assets if we separate. My business, my retirement, the house. It protects what's mine. It's already been reviewed by my lawyer. Her face went blank. You're joking. Number. I'm offering you a clean way forward. You want your independence? You'll have it. But you're not taking me for a ride on the way out. She scoffed. You can't make me sign that. I'm not making you. I'm giving you the choice. She stared at me for a long time, trying to calculate. I could see the gears turning, could see her trying to find an angle. You don't want this to get messy, she said, voice soft now, manipulative. We can fix this, Mike. We're way past fixing. She hesitated. Then, like it didn't matter, she grabbed the pen from the drawer and signed it. Didn't even read the whole thing. I waited while she did, watched her toss the pen down like she was doing me a favor. She smirked. There, happy? I picked up the paper and folded it clean. Number? But I'm finally free. She blinked, confused. Free from what? I stood up. From believing any of this was real. I walked out of the room before she could answer. By the end of that week, everything was locked in. The postnup was filed, accounts were separated, assets secured. I'd talked to Andrew again, got the green light on the next steps, no fanfare, just quiet movement behind the scenes. Amanda didn't ask questions, but she started noticing things. Groceries weren't automatically restocked. Her credit card was declined at some boutique she liked, and she sent me a text with a question mark. That was it. No hello, no explanation. I didn't reply. Another day she asked, "Did you move the investment account?" "Yep," I said. That was all. She stood there waiting for more. I gave her nothing. The power shift was done. She just didn't realize how far it had tipped. A week later, I packed 2 bags and left. No fight, no warning, no ceremony. I wasn't running away. I was walking out because I could, because I'd already done the hard part, letting go before I physically moved. I left her the house, not because I was being generous, but because it was empty to me. Let her have the shell. I'd take the piece. I got a small place just outside Dublin, 1 bedroom, clean, quiet, no decor, no dishes with lipstick stains. Just stillness. I didn't tell anyone where I was for a few days, just sat in it. And for the first time in years, I breathed without waiting for the next guilt trip or cold shoulder. The divorce went through faster than I expected. She didn't contest anything, didn't even flinch when her lawyer called to confirm the terms she'd already signed. I think her pride kept her quiet. That, or she still thought she had something on deck with Mark. She sent a few texts after that. Can we talk? You're being dramatic. I didn't mean for it to go this way. Delete, delete, delete. No response, no explanation. What was left to say? I'd tried, for years. I bent until my back gave out. I covered for her. I paid for her. I stood by her even when she treated me like a damn option. And for what? To be called passive, clueless, a stepping stone? Nah, I stayed too long. That's on me. But the exit? That was mine. And I made sure it was clean. Now, the silence isn't heavy. It's clear. No manipulation. No whispered insults masked as jokes. No guilt wrapped in sweet voices. Just quiet. And I'll take that over her kind of love any damn day.